Hello, my name is Alex Proctor, and I'm the Chief Trust and Privacy Officer at Captain Compliance. In this video, we're diving into the world of digital fingerprinting, an emerging online tracking mechanism that's reshaping the advertising and ad tech landscapes. We'll explore what fingerprinting is, how it stands apart from traditional cookie-based tracking, and why its rise, accelerated by a recent policy decision from Google, should capture our attention both professionally and personally. By the end of the video, you'll have a clear understanding of the mechanics behind fingerprinting, the privacy concerns it raises, and how businesses should navigate this complex environment. We'll also cover steps that you can or perhaps cannot take to prevent yourself from being reliably fingerprinted. Digital fingerprinting is a method of online tracking that gathers seemingly trivial pieces of information about your devices, like your phone, laptop, smart TV, or even gaming console. It might collect details like your IP address, browser type, installed extensions, screen resolution, or even the specific fonts that are installed on your system. These individual pieces of data might appear inconsequential on their own, but when combined, they have the potential to create a unique identifier, a digital fingerprint that can distinguish you from millions of other users with remarkable precision. Unlike cookies, which are small text files that are actually stored on your device and for which you might have some control, fingerprinting operates covertly. It collects information automatically, potentially without your permission or any sort of visible indicator, making it both a powerful tool for advertisers and a potential privacy concern for individuals. While cookies invite a dialogue about consent and can be easily managed or deleted through your browser settings, fingerprinting is silent and persistent, relying on inherent characteristics of your devices that hardly ever change. How does this work in practice? For our first example, imagine that you're using an obscure device like a Microsoft Surface Duo to browse the internet for vintage vinyl records. You check out a rare classic rock album, but don't make the purchase. Later that day, while checking in on the weather, you notice an advertisement for that exact same album. In this scenario, the unique characteristics of the Surface Duo, such as its unusual dual-screen resolution and specific operating system build, could have been harnessed to target you, even though you may have cleared or completely disabled targeting cookies in the device's browser. That was a somewhat extreme example. However, even if you're using more common hardware, your digital fingerprint is likely to be surprisingly distinctive. To illustrate this, go ahead and test for yourself using the device that you're watching this video on right now. Open up a new tab and pull up the website www.amiunique.org. Scroll down the page and take a look at the results. Notice all of the data points that the web browser can detect and pay attention to whether or not your particular device is presenting as unique. I'm going to obscure some of the details here, but this is the device that I'm recording this video from. As you can see, it has a very unique fingerprint, especially because of the specific fonts that I have installed, the unusual dimensions of my monitor, and the particular graphics card that I'm using. It would be trivial for advertisers to use my device fingerprint to target advertisements, even across different browsers and without the use of third-party targeting cookies. Now, let's take this a step further and consider what cross-device fingerprinting might look like. Imagine that you're researching new road bikes. On Monday, you browse cycling websites on your laptop while you're on a break at work, comparing brands and reading different reviews. Each site collects data, like your browser, operating system, and how you interact with the page, creating a unique fingerprint. That evening, you continue your research on your tablet at home. While the tablet hardware fingerprint is different, the system recognizes overlaps, such as your general location, time zone, language, and of course your continued interest in road bikes. Over the next few days, you keep thinking about the bikes. Let's say you even watch some video reviews on your smart TV. Each visit and interaction provides more context to an advertising fingerprinting system, which is used to refine a profile and increase its confidence that these sessions belong to the same person who is very interested in road bikes. Finally, a week later, you're browsing the news on your cell phone and you see targeted ads for road bikes. Even though you never explicitly searched for road bikes on your phone, the fingerprinting system used probabilistic methods to link your previous research across your laptop, tablet, and television to your phone, inferring your interest and delivering a relevant advertisement to you. This example might have oversimplified a complex process, but I hope you get the picture. While cross-device targeting may not be as precise as fingerprinting on a single device, it still demonstrates the far-reaching potential of this form of targeted advertising. As fingerprinting technology continues to advance, regulators are increasingly scrutinizing fingerprinting tracking methods. While privacy laws like the e-privacy directive and the GDPR in Europe clearly address cookie tracking, digital fingerprinting is sometimes less directly addressed. Existing laws might focus on data that's stored on your device, something that fingerprinting sidesteps. This means that while users might have control and agency over cookies, they may remain largely unaware of and unable to manage the server-side fingerprinting techniques that track them silently. This isn't to say that today's privacy laws don't apply to fingerprinting at all, or that fingerprinting is unregulated. This is not the case. Fingerprinting still requires transparency, consent, fair processing, and other protections under various privacy laws. It's just an area where the law is being applied in new ways and where there's not a great deal of specific guidance available. With that said, regulators around the world, including authorities like the UK's Information Commissioner's Office, are actively drafting and publishing specific guidance surrounding the use of fingerprinting. The European Data Protection Board has also issued guidance that fingerprinting should fall within the scope of the e-privacy directive. The persistent nature of digital fingerprints and their ability to easily track individual users poses serious privacy concerns that are prompting calls for stricter oversight. This brings us to a pivotal moment: Google's policy shift. In February, Google reversed its long-held ban on fingerprinting within its advertising ecosystem. This was a drastic change. For years, Google had dismissed fingerprinting as a practice and spoken negatively of it. However, facing a rise in new ad-supported platforms like smart TVs and under pressure from fierce competitors, Google has modified its stance, allowing advertisers to collect device data to create fingerprints for targeted marketing. While Google hasn't explicitly endorsed fingerprinting, they have adjusted their policy in such a way that fingerprinting is no longer explicitly prohibited. Google defends this move by highlighting advancements in privacy-enhancing technologies, such as on-device data processing, trusted execution environments, and secure multi-party computation. Despite these assurances, critics of fingerprinting remain unconvinced, arguing that this shift could undermine hard-won privacy protections and expose users to greater risks. The UK's ICO, or the Information Commissioner's Office, published a response after Google originally announced this change. The message states, amongst other things, that businesses do not have free rein to use fingerprinting as they please. Like all advertising technology, it must be lawfully and transparently deployed, and if it is not, the ICO will act. The ICO goes on to say, "We think this change is irresponsible. Google itself has previously said that fingerprinting does not meet users' expectations for privacy, as users cannot easily consent to it as they would cookies. This in turn means they cannot control how their information is collected." To quote Google's own position on fingerprinting from 2019, "We think this subverts user choice and is wrong." Google responded to this with their own statement saying, "We look forward to further discussions with the ICO about this policy change." So, how should businesses respond to a shift towards digital fingerprinting? Whether you're an advertiser, a tech provider, or simply a company leveraging digital marketing, the rise of fingerprinting technology offers opportunities and responsibilities along with some risks. It's something to approach thoughtfully, especially because the approach is so controversial. First, transparency is non-negotiable. If your business uses any sort of fingerprinting or works with partners who do, be upfront with your users. Clearly explain what data you're collecting and why in your privacy notices and disclosures. Even though fingerprinting doesn't rely on user-side storage like cookies, privacy laws still require you to secure informed specific consent where personal data is processed. Second, make sure that you understand your tech stack. Work with your ad tech vendors to understand if and how they're deploying fingerprinting. Ask questions. Are they using device data to create unique identifiers? How are they handling cross-device tracking? Knowing what's under the hood is critical for compliance and for ensuring that your privacy notices are accurate. This will also help ensure that you're properly fulfilling your obligations when you receive data subject requests. This is a chance to align your privacy practices with your brand's values, and that's something that customers care a lot about. Finally, make sure that your strategy is flexible. Google's policy shift signals that cookieless targeted advertising is evolving. As regulators refine their guidance, you'll need to adapt. Pay attention to updates from bodies like the Information Commissioner's Office or the European Data Protection Board. Their guidance on fingerprinting is sharpening, and staying informed will allow you to make adjustments. If you're not sure where to start, consider partnering with a privacy expert like those from Captain Compliance to assess your approach and strategize around any gaps. As I record this video, I realize that you might be wondering what steps you can personally take to limit your exposure to digital fingerprinting in your own life. To be frank, this is hard to do well, if at all. Restricting fingerprinting activity just isn't going to be as simple as it is to manage cookies. However, that doesn't mean that there's nothing you can do. There are some measures that you might choose to try. First, consider using browsers that offer direct fingerprinting protections. For example, Firefox offers options to block known or suspected fingerprinters. It also has a more advanced parameter available, which can resist fingerprinting even further, although it sometimes doesn't play well with websites. Utilizing ad blockers that target tracking scripts and using VPNs to mask your IP address can also reduce the impact of fingerprinting efforts. Good device hygiene, like logging out of accounts on secondary devices and periodically resetting advertising identifiers, can also help minimize tracking across platforms. Universal opt-out tools like Global Privacy Control are also worth mentioning. These tools may play a significant role in the future. In the real world, privacy preference signals tend to be handled inconsistently, with websites and services responding to them differently in different regions or not recognizing them in the first place. If anything, global privacy control and similar tools should be used alongside other privacy measures. Also, keep in mind that there's a bit of a paradox here. The more you customize your device settings to enhance privacy, the more uniquely your device may stand out in the crowd, making it easier to fingerprint in the first place. I hope this was an informative and helpful overview of digital fingerprinting technology and how it's being used for targeted advertising use cases. If your organization needs support aligning with privacy compliance regulations, Captain Compliance is here to help. Our privacy platform is designed to streamline compliance, automate key requirements, and help businesses stay ahead of evolving regulations. If you need more information, please feel free to visit our website. It's www.captaincompliance.com. I'll put the link as well as additional contact information in the video description. Thanks for watching.